Oh, this is strange. Number 10 is trending on Twitter. I wonder why that's trending. Let's have a look. Keir Starmer is the worst Prime Minister in UK history. Number 10 overruled security services on Mandelson's vetting process information. Of course they did. They are pro-deviant in Downing Street these days. And, this is interesting. From Julia Hartley-Brewer, Keir Starmer's Director of Strategy, Paul Ovenden, has quit Number 10 after leaked messages revealed he made inappropriate, sexually explicit comments about veteran Labour MP Diane Abbott. I think the most staggering piece of news about this here is that there's actually a Director of Strategy in Keir Starmer's Downing Street. Right, obviously I was going to cover Abbottgate. It's an interesting story, if nothing else. It's a diversion from what we've been talking about for the last week, which is the lying, devious, slimy, slithering media and the government and the likes of Ed Davey telling everyone that they shouldn't be getting involved, that American businessmen and American politicians shouldn't be getting involved in British politics, even though they sent a team of 200 activists over to try and get Kamala Harris elected. Yeah, and they've been crying about Donald Trump for 8 years. But apparently, that's totally fine. That's totally fine, spending 8 years crying about Trump and sending activists over to America to campaign for the opposition. But you can't have a Zoom meeting with Elon Musk. I mean, it doesn't really make any sense. And frankly, it's so self-evidently preposterous and hypocritical and ludicrous. I don't want to talk about it. No, it's pointless. Everyone knows what's going on at this point. Rank hypocrisy from a bunch of raving lunatics. So I thought I'd cover something at least slightly more amusing, which is that apparently there is a man out there with a set of eyeballs and, well, a nose, because let's be frank, she looks like the type of lass who gets washed less often than a stray dog. So, bit mental, but apparently this is a thing and he's just resigned. So let's have a quick look and see what the actual story is, shall we? Starmer resigns after explicit texts about Diane Abbott surface. Look at the clip of that. She's not even a 10 to 2 bird, is she? She's not a post-club kebab shop lass. I'd rather guide me dad into me sister. Paul Ovenden, a senior aide as Prime Minister Keir Starmer, has resigned after offensive and sexual text messages came to light in which he recounted a conversation about veteran MP Diane Abbott. The messages were reported in the Daily Mail and are understood to have been made 8 years ago as part of an online private conversation. What? Hang on. Are the media making hay with this? Is this a non-entity like most of the cancel culture stuff? I mean, I don't want to defend a bloke who's as much of a rat in a suit as to work for someone like Sir Keir Starmer. Oh.
Gay!
But it does sound a little bit preposterous, doesn't it? It sounds a little bit preposterous to me. There's got to be more to it, hasn't there? Spokesperson for the Prime Minister called the messages appalling and unacceptable, saying, as the first black woman to be elected to Parliament, Diane Abbott is a trailblazer. Blah, blah, blah. So basically, he's had the misfortune to make these comments about someone who's on the identity pyramid, hasn't he? It says, in the messages, he recounted colleagues' comments made during a more explicit version of the game, Snog, Marry, Avoid, with graphic sexual imagery relating to Abbott. Abbott is the longest-serving female MP in Parliament, having represented the Hackney North and Stoke Newton constituency since 1987. Abbott is the queen of the diversity hire regime. She is so manifestly incompetent and brain dead that the fact that she ever held political office in the United Kingdom is a national embarrassment. And I don't say that lightly. Honestly, she is genuinely one of the most incompetent and dense people I've ever seen on television. If I showed you her greatest hits collection, you'd split your sides laughing. I'm not talking about the famous ones, like, going out with shoes on the wrong feet or a famously bad maths. I'm talking about a total lack of knowledge of world events, local political history, or just the type of things that your average 10-year-old learns in primary school. The woman is a moron. If I was to compare her intellectually to a bucket of snot, It would be cruel to the bucket of snot. In a statement, Mr. Ovenden said, while it is chilling that a private conversation from nearly a decade ago can do this sort of damage, I am also truly deeply sorry for it and the hurt it will cause. Well, it won't cause any hurt, will it? Nobody cares. His resignation comes just a few days after the Prime Minister sacked Peter Mandelson as his ambassador to the US and less than 2 weeks after Angela Rayner resigned as Deputy Prime Minister. Oh, I keep forgetting my clips. I've got too many now. Sorry, I know the rules. Peter Mandelson.
How's the wife?
Oh, gone. I was living a lie and she knew it, but now I'm able to go out and enjoy some serious cock guilt-free. Yumma, 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 yumma.
Angela Rayner.
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut!
There you go, we're done. I think we might have to change the rules of this game. It's getting in the way of things. Anyway, so that's a non-story. Again, I don't want to defend anyone devious and morally bereft as someone who'd be happy to work for the Prime Minister. But we are where we are. If you actually look at the email, it is what the Americans would call a nothing burger. It literally says, I've got something that will make you lol from last night. This is the 15th of May, 2017. We were playing Shag, Marry or Kill. Honestly, I nearly wet myself laughing. What? I love that game. Yes, so-and-so was asking who would use the strap-on out of her and Diane Abbott was the highlight. And then a physical demonstration of putting it on was amazing. What are you doing? It's so big it has shoulder straps. Well, it'd need to be big for the Abbottgate to even know it was there, wouldn't it? His mate said, that's amazing. What was the answer? Some awful mental pictures are assembling in my head. We spent a lot of time discussing going down on Diane. Honestly, it was outrageous. Oh my God, lol. Yeah, not really a sacking offence, that is it? Honestly, I mean, it's preposterous, this. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. As far as I'm concerned, these people created this monster and now they've unleashed it on the public and they can play by the same rules themselves. But dare I suggest it would be a much more sensible course of action to go back to the sensible 1990s where having a sense of humour and cracking jokes wasn't the type of thing that would get someone sacked. I mean, that's my opinion, but apparently I'm a lunatic. Apparently the sensible people, because there must be, because they're in charge, the sensible people think sending a quip to your mate 10 years ago is worthy of public humiliation and sacking. So here we are where we are. Welcome to the brave new world that we've created in thrall to the commie dogs in Downing Street. I was asked to cover the story, so I have done. Again, not much of a story really, is it? But you don't need me to point you at the fact that the other big news isn't news either. The powers that be in the mainstream media lying endlessly about the motives and the behaviour of the millions of people that turned up in the capital last week. That's not news. That's what they've been doing for 10 years, and you know it if you've been paying attention. But that'll have to do for the day because I'm busy. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.